The streets of Sacramento glowed under the fading light of evening. The sun was dipping low, scattering streaks of crimson and gold across the horizon. Street lamps flickered to life, and the city began its slow transition from day to night. For most people, it was just another evening. But for Officer Daniels, this was the kind of hour he called opportunity. Daniels was a man molded by years in uniform, broad-shouldered, clean-cut, with eyes that carried suspicion like a permanent shadow. His badge gleamed proudly, but beneath it rested something less honorable. Assumptions hardened into habits. Every patrol felt less like serving the people and more like proving his authority. And tonight would be no different. His gaze locked onto a sleek black sedan cruising down the quiet street. Its polished frame reflected the last rays of sunset, elegant and commanding. Behind the wheel sat a black man, calm, confident, and sharply dressed in a tailored suit that spoke of success. To Daniels, the image didn't sit right. He didn't see success. He saw suspicion. He didn't see a citizen. He saw a target. Without hesitation, Daniels flipped on his siren. Red and blue lights cut through the evening calm. The sedan slowed, pulling neatly to the curb. Daniels' chest swelled with the familiar surge of control. He stepped out, adjusting his belt, squaring his shoulders. Another stop, another lecture, another display of power. The driver opened his door and stepped out slowly. There was no panic in his movements, no hint of guilt or fear. His presence was calm, almost commanding. The man's dark suit fit perfectly, his polished shoes caught the glow of the street lamps, and his expression carried quiet strength. "Is there a problem, officer?" His tone was steady, measured, respectful, but not submissive. Daniels stiffened, immediately suspicious of the calm. His voice sharpened as he barked out commands: license, registration, questions about where he was going, why he was here, what business he had in this part of town. Each word carried an edge, as if he was trying to cut into the man's dignity. But the man did not flinch. He answered clearly, calmly, each response layered with confidence. His eyes never wavered. It wasn't arrogance, it was certainty. He was a man who had nothing to hide. Daniels pressed harder, trying to rattle him, but the air between them shifted. The officer's authority was colliding with something stronger, a quiet authority that needed no badge to command respect. Finally, the man reached into his leather folder. Daniels's hand instinctively hovered near his holster, suspicion flashing in his eyes. But what emerged wasn't a weapon. It was an ID, thick, official, lined with authority far above Daniels's pay grade. The officer's breath caught. His throat tightened as he read the name and title. The man standing before him wasn't just another driver. He wasn't someone Daniels could intimidate or dismiss. He was the head of internal affairs, the very man who oversaw investigations into officers like Daniels, the man who had the power to decide whether Daniels kept his badge, his job, his reputation. For the first time that night, Daniels faltered. His voice cracked as he tried to recover, words tumbling out awkwardly, but the damage was already done. His prejudice, his arrogance, his abuse of authority, all laid bare in the quiet streetlight glow. The man didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He simply looked Daniels in the eyes, his expression calm yet unshakably firm. And then he spoke words that would echo in Daniels' mind long after the encounter was over. "Do your duty with justice. That's all I expect." He closed the folder, slid it back into his case, and walked to his car. Every step carried dignity, every movement a reminder of the strength that comes from truth, not power. Daniels stood frozen, his badge suddenly feeling heavier on his chest. The sirens still flickered behind him, but now they seemed like a mockery, a hollow display of authority that crumbled in the face of true integrity. As the sedan pulled away and disappeared into the night, Daniels was left staring at the empty street. What had begun as a routine traffic stop had become a mirror, forcing him to confront not the man he stopped, but the man he had become. That night wasn't about a ticket, a stop, or a uniform. It was about justice. It was about respect. And it was a reminder that the authority of a badge means nothing if it isn't backed by honor.